you brought up Bristol and Kurt Busch. Did you consider that basically just a racing deal? Or?
Oh, fuck no.
Okay.
He intended on wrecking me. He was a no-good son of a bitch, Rick. He says I wrecked him at Bristol. I'm sorry. He said I wrecked him at Phoenix. I don't recall that. But then he wrecked me somewhere. Oh, it was Bristol. He tried to wreck me at Bristol. But I taught him a lesson at Indy. And that was pretty impressive at Indianapolis, wasn't it? Yeah. Didn't even look like I hit him. And I was wishing he broke his neck. He was an ass. I can remember sitting one time with Earnhardt. And Earnhardt said to me, Spencer, he says, that son of a bitch ever put his finger up at me again, I'm going to break it up and stick it up his ass. So me and Earnhardt are sitting there one day in the driver's meeting. And Kurt, hell of a race car driver, very talented race car driver, comes over, and he was messing with Earnhardt. And that's the problem that Kurt had. Kurt thought that Earnhardt was nobody special. It was like, I remember Reggie White telling me a story. I was messing with Reggie some, and Reggie was in the tail end of his career, and this young running back or whatever gets out of the college, and he juked Reggie. And he comes by, and he's doing the old chicken pox. The great Reggie White. Man, you don't say that to a 2,000-pound, 7-foot man that's going to stomp your ass. I loved old Reggie White. Got him together with Joe Gibbs to raise money for the inner city kids. It was pretty special. But anyway, Reggie proceeds to tell me the story. So, he say, man, I was the tail end of my career, and the kid was pretty good. But he needed to learn respect. About the third quarter, I got his ass. And when I proceeded to put him in the ground, oh, Mr. White, Mr. White, let me tell you something, boy. Learn to respect the other players. Learn to respect the other players. He got up and told Reggie he was sorry, and he learned a valuable lesson. And Reggie said, that's the whole deal.
Yeah, after the wreck at Indy, this is right along those lines. Kurt said some things.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and you had some reaction to that.
I think that fuse was already lit for you. The boat had already sailed on whether or not you guys were going to be on the same page.
Yeah, I don't think we were going to be on the same page. Do you guys remember when Kurt said I wasn't there, at Bristol, when he said, you guys are at fault?
Yeah, I remember something like that.
Yeah.
Because I remember my PR guy saying, Mike
Davis?
Mike Davis.
Yeah.
Saying, this son of a bitch said that the media's at fault. Listen, he's on the phone with me. He's listening with these fans. Listen to these fans. He says, you're an instant hero. And Tony Stewart was the one that told me to shut up. Called me up on the phone. He says, you're fucked, Jimmy. They're not going to let you race. Don't you say a word. Just take it and go on. And actually, he gave me my TV job. And actually, I made more money doing that than I was racing. So it all washes. But in his defense, hell, race car driver, Kyle Busch. Tell you a story about Kyle Busch. So I'm racing in the truck series. I like Kyle, and Kyle to me, if I owned a race team, I still would put Kyle Busch as the guy that I'd want to drive my car. He'd be my first candidate. Then I'd probably have to take Larson. Yeah. But anyway, I still would take Kyle because I like his temperament. I like his attitude and not losing. That's Kyle Busch. So, Bill France, Rick Hendrick are sitting in the trailer. Buster, Spence, Bill wants to see you. What the hell did I do now? So I stroll my ass up there, and Rick and Bill's in the trailer. Do you remember when Kyle busted the guitar at Nashville?
Yes, I do.
Hell of a race car driver. Kyle was a hell of a race. So Rick said, we need you to talk to him. We need you to explain the sport, the Reggie White scenario. I told Harvick that he needed to get the hell out. I said, it's not, you do a lot better, believe me. So I went to see Kyle. And a couple crew members said, you can't be here. I said, listen, guys, don't go there. Just leave me alone. I'm waiting for Kyle. Not right around the incident with Kurt and all that. And needless to say, the one guy knew me. He said, leave him alone. He knows what he's doing. And a couple of the kids, anyway. So here comes Kyle up to qualify. This is a Texas. This is Kyle, I need to talk to you. Boy, so I don't know if I should go up between them two trailers with you. I said, Kyle, I need to talk to you. This is no joking matter. So I walked up there. He walked up there with me. And he, the cockiness and this and that. Which, man, that's reminded me of myself, man. And I proceeded to tell him what he did wrong. Don't do this, blankety blank. And I told him there's two of the most respected men in the garage area that I respect more than anything. I says, one of them is your boss, and the other one is all of our bosses. And I said, when Bill France tells you to talk to somebody and tell them, you got a problem, buddy. And they never really fixed it. And I think what really fixed it, and I ain't going to go into what happened, because Rick told me the story, and then, Roush told me the story about why he fired Kurt. I don't want to get into that because it was pretty private stuff. I remember when Jack knew what happened with Kurt and I at Michigan. Jack knew what happened. And he met with me and Mark Martin, actually in the bus, common the next week at Darlington. And Jack says to me, he says, I am sorry. And I said, Jack, but you didn't tell the boys. You didn't tell the guys that it means to. I can't. I got 2,200 employees. I've got 20-some sponsors. That's why he had 5 teams. He's an asshole. But he said, I can't say that publicly. I can't. And I said, Jack, I can't accept your apology. You have to. Man to man. You understand business, but you understand personally. I'll make it up to you. I said, Jack, I always respected you the most, and I really respect Mark. And I said, all right. So nobody knew what really happened. He didn't run out of gas. He deliberately parked the car. He said he was going to fuck up my family. Oh, that's why he got punched. I did punch him.
Kurt said he was...
Yeah, he knew where I lived. He was going to fuck up my family. Really? No, you're not. Bang. What are you going to do?
Right.
So I knew it was a mistake. But on the other side of it, I could care less. I'll date it back to we were racing the Busch cars. We were at Langley Field. And Jack Ingham, awesome man. I love Jack. I didn't at the time. And we were at Langley, and Jack slams Jack Lissaw. Okay, so I run into Rick Mast. He was driving the blue 22. I slowed down and let Rick go by me. Robert Black was a no good son of a bitch. He did not like me. And I come up, and Jack knows what's going on. That I'm in hot water with NASCAR because evidently somebody's monitored. Hell, I'm a dumbass rookie. I didn't know what was going on. And Jack lets off his gas coming off the corner, and I run into the back of him. Next lap, I pass him, and I go on. Robert Black calls me in for a 2-lap penalty for aggressive driving. I'm like, what the fuck? So you got to serve your penalty. I said, okay. Well, they're holding us for 2 laps. Let's just put 4 new tires on the car. Right? We do. Proceed to go on, make our lap up, come back and finish 3rd or 4th. Should have won the race. They call me in the hauler. Jack's sitting in the hauler. I said, listen, you old son of a bitch. First thing I said to him, let me tell you something, you old son of a bitch. You ever do that to me again, I will park your ass on the 5th fucking bleacher on the front straightaway. And he's like, calm as a cucumber. Now, how do you race against a guy like that? I said, then I blow up again. Let me tell you something, you son of a bitch. You think I'm stupid? You think this is my first time driving a car? I know what you did. And I'm telling you, Jack, if you do it again, I'm going to bust your ass. I don't give a damn. Roberts goes, you can't drive that way, Spencer, blah, 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 blah. He was a crooked, no good official. So I says, listen to me. You see these two hands? You'd have to cut them both off for me to quit driving that way. They gunned for me. Robert Black gunned for me all the time. Well, my wife was a little bit smarter than most. She hired a video photographer. Not many people knew this. It all dates back to Gayro. Gayro on the radio, complaining, this Spencer is knocking the hell out of everybody. Blah, 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 blah. Frank Cece says, comes home, he says, his wife says, Frank, what is wrong with Jimmy? He's knocking the hell out of everybody. Frank says, God dang, there ain't no damage on our car or nothing. We finished third, wherever it was. What are they talking? Well, you ought to hear Mark Gayro. She says, tape it. He says, tape it. So we taped it. Pat had people taping me. We go to Hickory, North Carolina. Jack Ingram's leading the race. Dale Jarrett second, Jimmy Spencer's third. Jack Ingram breaks the motor. Needless to say, Jack and I are good friends now. Because Jack come to me the following week. And he says, you know what, bud? You're a hell of a race car driver. I respect you. And I really respect how you handled that last week. I said, Jack, I mean, he says, I know you do. And he says, it was my mistake doing what I did. But you need to calm down. You need to, and I got to drive for Jack Ingram. Jack passed away. Jack was a hell of a racer. Hell of a racer, man. That's what I loved, was the true grit racers. So Jack's going to win Hickory. Skull, number 11, Monte Carlo, going to win the race. 25 laps to go, his motor breaks. Jarrett's leading in the, what do you call car? Now, Jarrett is a no good mirror driving, holding me up every which way loose. Dale and I were friends, but he was trying to win the race. I'm like, man, you son of a bitch, what are you doing, man? Cutting off and everything else. And I forget that we're taping the race. Well, needless to say, I said, I got his ass. Hickory has a big back straightaway, right? Up turn 2. Finally, I got underneath him, and Rick, he has me down on the inside. Steve, I can't get no lower. There's 3,000 feet to the right of us. He's right. And I said, if I slam my brakes on real quick, he'll spin the fuck out. I jam my brakes on. Listen, you can't beat a good old short track racer. They know their shit. Bam. And he goes, whoa. I never spun him out. He spun himself out. Well, now the fans, they're like, hey, you son of a bitch, blah, blah, blah. Robert Black, that crooked bastard. One thing leads to another, and I pull into the winner's circle, and they proceed to tell me to sit in the car, Buster and everything else, and Ned Jarrett comes over to the car. He hollers at me, you dirty, no good SOB driver, blah, 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 blah. I says, Ned, your boy spun himself out. I did not spin him out. Oh, and he said a couple of choice words.
Ned Jarrett did.
I respect Ned. I respect Ned Jarrett.
Yeah.
But he's pretty upset. Don't blame him because he thought I spun his son out. Unfortunately for all of them, and fortunately for Jimmy, I had a tape. Now, that Saturday, they go up. Monday comes, they go to Richmond the next day. I get a phone call on Monday. What happened at Hickory? Blah blah blah. I said, who
Now,
was?
didn't he bump you in Victory Lane or something?
Oh hell yeah! So I start my car back up, and I said to Buster, Buster says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to teach that son of a bitch how to hit somebody." Buster goes, I love old Buster on. He goes, "Oh, come on, Spencer, please." And I said, "No, I'm going to teach him." He says, "No, here comes a guy with a 2x4. Oh, yeah. I said, "Oh, this is bad." And I didn't do nothing wrong. I did not spin him out. Okay. They are going to escort me out of the thing, and Robert goes, "I'm going to talk to you next, look, we're going to try to get you out of here without getting killed and all this kind of crap." And I said, "Robert, I'm not afraid." He said, well, then I found out, Dale never wanted Hickory in a Busch car. So, it hurts. So after all the emotions is over, Monday morning he calls me up and tells me at the shop what's going to happen. And I said, "Really?" And I said, "I got something you need to see." "What do you mean you got something we need to see?"
This is Robert.
"Yeah." I said, "I got a tape of the race." "What?" I said, "Robert, ever since Langley, when you fucked me, I have a tape of every race that I've been in. Every race. Only the 34 car." "Well, I want to see it." So I said to my wife, she says, "Oh, let me make another tape." So we make another VCR. This is old technology, man. We didn't have cell phones back then like that. Old VCR tape. So I make another one. So we go to a video store up here in Hickory somewhere. They tell me where to meet. And I said, "I got it situated with 20 laps to go in the race." That's when this started happening. 20 whatever. Plug it in. Buster, Robert, and me. We're watching it. I said, "Jack, you see, Jack broke. Jack broke, no caution." And I says, "If you see, I'm way faster than that 32 car." I said, "It's coming pretty close now, guys." And all at once, they see I says, "You need to pause that if you can." So they pause it. I said, "Look at the racetrack. Look where he's got me." They back it up. They look. Whew, I'm 30 feet, 40. I mean, Jarrett's got me, right? Now he says, "If you watch quick," I said, "you'll see my car stop. Try to stop." And it does. So Robert says, "Wow, this changes the whole scenario." He says, "Can I have that tape?" I says, No. I says, "It's the only one I got. It's the only one I got, Robert." He says, "Well, that's fine." He says, I got to take it and send it to NASCAR." "Man," I says. "No." I said, "Let me make another." "No." He says, "You're all right. I'll never forget it as long as I live." He goes, "No." He says, "It's fine." I said, "Let's make one here." "No." He says, we'll be okay." So I'm like, "Boy, you must think I'm stupid. But you know what? Okay. I'll see you at Darlington on Thursday." Thursday comes to Darlington. They call me to the hauler. Les Richter, Dick Beattie, Dale Jarrett, and Robert Black. I stroll my ass in there. Beattie says, "Mr. Spencer, Mr. Spencer, why do you do what you do?" I says, "I try to win races. And I try to do the best I can every given lap on the racetrack. You just can't spin people out." I said, "What, Mr. Beattie?" "You just can't spin people out." I said, "Really?" Les says, "Jimmy," he says, "we got to do something." I said, "Yeah, I think we do too." I said, "Did you happen to see the tape of the race last Saturday night?" And I'm looking at Robert. And he goes, "What tape?"
Oh. That's Robert.
I says, oh, Mr. Richter. Dick, Mr. Beatty, you didn't see the tape. What tape? He said, this one right here. And Robert is like, what? What just happened? I said, Mr. Richter, if you look at this tape, it's about 10 laps to go in the race. And I said, this will show you where this incident comes about. And I know what's happening. I'm sitting there and I'm watching him. Jarrett's sitting back there. And I says, I'm going to tell you guys in about 2 more laps, you're going to see my car down as low as it can be, and Mr. Jarrett pushing me down. And as Mr. Jarrett's pushing me down, I slam my brakes on, and he spins himself out. And that's just what happens. When it happens, Dick Beatty hits the end button. He says, Mr. Jarrett, whoa, look what you did in the winner's circle. Look what, he says, Jimmy, you know what? He says, you need to leave right now. We will tend to this later. Mr. Jarrett, as you could see, it was as much your fault as it was Jimmy's. In fact, I believe it was almost all your fault. So this is over. You might as well leave. So Jarrett comes out and he says, I was just trying to win. I said, I know, Dale. I said, but, you know, I didn't do really nothing wrong. And I said, afterwards, what you did was wrong. But anyway, we were friends over. I mean, it was racing. Now, Mr. Black, he didn't leave. We closed the door. He didn't no longer work for NASCAR after that.
That's right.
Think about it.
Remember that.
Oh, I remember Jack Ingram telling me, we went to Nashville. I'll never forget Steve as long as I live. I wanted to beat Darrell Waltrip so bad at Nashville because Darrell was making fun that I had a 3-link car, the whole 9 yards. He gonna kick my fanny, blah, 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 blah. And we end up running first and second most of the race, and we're lapping everybody. Jack's third. But Jack can't beat us. We make a pit stop, put the tires on the wrong way. We end up getting second. Jack gets third. So we pull in. Darrell won his race. Big deal. That's irrelevant. I know I had to beat. We made a mistake. But Jack comes over to me. Jimmy, you remember passing Tommy Houston? I said, I remember lapping Tommy Houston. That's what I mean, bud. I says, yeah, Jack, I never lapped you. But I said, God dang, I think I remember passing him 2 or 3 times. Well, he said, that's what I thought. Robert had him finishing 5th. And I didn't realize it at the time. They raced for the championship. I didn't care about the nationwide championship. I cared about winning races and going cup racing. And Jack said, you need to go to the trailer with me. So I went to the trailer with him. Me and him with Robert Black. Robert said, how do you know how many times you passed him? Because I says, you know, sometimes a guy don't forget how he passes cars. And that car, when you lap Jack Ingram, you're doing something. I didn't lap Jack Ingram tonight, but I did lap Tommy Houston. He didn't finish 5th, wherever they got him down for. Maybe Jack said, thanks a lot, because he finished like 11th or 12th. The time of the 5 positions was a lot. So in retrospect, what goes around comes around. But, and in all truthfulness, you wrecked with Earnhardt, you raced with Earnhardt. Nobody wanted to see anybody. I mean, it was life. Yeah. So, but I can't complain. Pretty cool.
Did you enjoy television? Did you enjoy doing television?
No, I think my ego did. I think it was more ego than anything. Really? I think ego has a lot to do with television. Really do. I think that I enjoyed it to a certain point. Stuff like this, to me, you can't make this for TV because they'd say, you can't say some of the stuff you say. We have to worry about 21 minutes in a 30-minute segment. So that's what's great about podcasts, because you could talk and people could see the whole deal. TV was more, we were number one. Steve Burns, myself, Danielle, Kenny Wallace, John Roberts. We were through the roof with our ratings. We were outdrawing ESPN and all of them. And all we were doing was telling the truth. That's all we were doing, Rick. And I did enjoy it at first, but then it became a job. It became almost a burden where you had to be in, and you had to, the producers thought they knew more than you did. It was, I don't know, it was enjoyable. I had a good time. I remember things you remember in life. Gene Haas has spent $280 million. Who knows how much the man has spent? And he has done everything. He has every jackass drive his car that can drive it. Jack Sprague, Jeff Green, all these guys. Jeff Green was driving the car at the time. And it was running like crap. And there was a show, we talked about it, and I said, Jeff Green, he's never done nothing in a Cup car. I mean, yeah, he won the Nationwide Championship, good for him. But the Cup's different, baby. Jimmy Johnson never did really a lot in the Nationwide car, but he did win in the Cup car. Davey Allison was another one. Davey Allison never did really well in the Busch car, but he won his ass in Cup cars. So it was just one of those deals. And I said something about Jeff, and oh my God, one thing leads to another. So you always had to do your homework. I did my homework. The guy only had like 1 or 2 top 10s. So he gets on the air, and he's going to fire back at me. So Teddy Lukaitis, our producer, says, now, Spencer, you remember we're live. And you have to defend, you have to speak your facts and whole 9 yards. So I said, no, I got my information. So Jeff comes up. He's going to defend his record because I said they need a clean house. So I think Gene Haas would have been a good guy to drive for. I would love to drive for Gene. When I see Tony Stewart, what he did with him, Harvick too, because James Finch was one of the best guys I ever drove for because he wanted to win, Junior Johnson. But anyway, Steve says, okay, Spence, be careful. I said, okay. Well, Jeff comes up, he starts talking. And he's telling us all these problems with the race team, all these things and everything else. And Johnny said, okay, make a long story short. Question from Jimmy. I says, okay, Jeff, you tomorrow morning, Monday, you are in charge of this race team. What's the first thing you're going to do? He has no clue what to do. Yeah. And I says, you need to fire yourself. Your record does, the whole 9 yards. He just cuddled up into a little ball and walked off. It's the truth. But you had a guy like Tony Stewart. We and him argued a lot. Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski. I could bring up some stuff they did or whatever. I remember we were at Pocono, and Tony and Harvick got together, and I was doing a live deal, and the guy says, "Don't you? Oh, this is the best one." We were at Pocono, and I knew both of them. I'm good friends with both of them, and I said, "Hey, you guys," I says, "I know what happened last week. It was racing, but everybody's taking it, So I get Tony. And I get Harvick. Well, the guy that works for NBC now or whatever, he's going to do an interview. So I says to the girl, I says, how long? She says, oh, it'll be about 5 more minutes. I says, okay. So I grab Harvick, and I pull Harvick over, and I pull Smoke over. And I said, listen, you two dummies, what happened last week? Well, I knew it was all worked out. Tony ended up winning the race. They rubbed each other. They were racing to win Indy. And so I'm sitting there, them sons of bitches. I'm sitting on the damn guardrails, and them sons of bitches come over and flip me over. Flip me over with my microphone headsets on and all, both them drivers. That was ultimate moment. And Lukaitis says, you know what, Spencer? That in itself is worth $1 million because I know the fans are going to go crazy for that. So then after that was all over, we went off the air, and I forget his name. It was a black-haired guy. He does pit reporting.
Sabrini?
And NBC. Anyway, he comes over. He says, let me tell you, you ever do something again, I'll have your job. I says, listen, asshole, your ratings can't touch us, so don't you worry about it. And I knew you were going on air with him. And he said, well, you got to schedule this stuff. I says, no, I don't. I'm good friends with these people. And if I'm going to get to the facts, I'm going to get to them. And I got to it made him mad because we beat him to the punch. It's awful. Yeah. It was awful. It was, you know. But, I mean, those are the moments I enjoyed more than anything. In Winter Circle, Rick Hendricks sitting on my lap. You know, Roger Penske. So Jack Roush. I got stuff they signed. It was special. They knew, you know, Bill Francis. Those guys all knew that I never tried to take the sport down. I was trying to make the sport better. But don't lie about it. It's like this, Rick. I'm going to buy you guys lunch. And we're going to go to this hamburger joint. And we're going to sit down and eat that hamburger. Next week, we're going to do it again. We sure in hell ain't going back to the hamburger joint because you know why? The hamburgers sucked. They were no good.
And when we're paying, we're going somewhere more expensive.
There you go. But the moral of the story is, right, if you don't have a good product,
yeah,
you're not going to get the customer back.
Yeah.
NASCAR, the new PR people and stuff were all trying to say, oh, we got fantastic racing. But in all truthfulness, you saw fantastic racing. We saw the best racing the sport ever had. In the last couple of years, they lost their way. They lost their way like 10 years ago. But right now, I would say they've got a pretty good package. But I think what they've done is they've homogenized the sport so much that I don't think they can get the fans back. I really don't. Unfortunately.
All of them technological. There is no creativity in the garage area anymore.
No, Steve, you're 100% right. Remember you used to write stories all the time about it?
Oh, yeah.
It was fun.
There was one team against the other. And
there you go.
Everybody was trying to beat NASCAR at the same time.
There you go. It was always, what can I do to beat you?
Yeah.
Not to finish second. It was always, these guys are complacent. I finished sixth. I got a good points day. No, you never heard Earnhardt say he had a good goddamn points day. You never heard that. You never heard Bobby Allison say, oh, I had a good points day.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You finished fifth. You know, if you finished fifth, you had to try to finish fourth next week. It was never, oh, I had a good points day. I got so tired of hearing that on NASCAR. That was the big thing when we were doing our TV. Oh, we had a good points day. Okay.
Jimmy, I would love to sit here and talk for hours, but when we talked the other day and we were trying to set up the interview and everything, you said that you were kind of downsizing and that you were kind of off the grid a little bit. Is that just because you were tired of being in the public eye, or was it just time to lead a quieter, gentler life for Jimmy Spencer?
I think my sister lived in a little house in Enochville. Pat and I bought a little farm, had a lot of property, had a lot of stuff. And Chrissy wanted to fix her house up. And Chrissy was working for me. She worked for Dick Moroso. She worked for knew a lot of people. I sent a bunch of guys over, 3 guys over with myself, and we put a new floor in her little house. $500. $500. I think she was working for the guy that's dating the girl that's married to Martin Truax.
Sherry Pollock.
Sherry Pollock. She was working for Pollock's daddy at the time, and good guy, and good people. The sport always had. There's really no bad people in our sport when you come down to it. And about 10 after 5, 15 at quarter after 5, she walks in the house. They're all gone except me, and I'm sitting there. And that smile. was like, wow, I can't forget it. Oh my God. I'm talking, because somebody has screwed her before they tried to patch the floors, and Pat says, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to fix them. I'm just going to put a damn whole new freaking cheap-ass laminate. They call it luxury vinyl now. And Pat and her fixed up the kitchen, and she had her house really nice, you know? And she never got to move back in. I went to Indianapolis. Pat says, honey, you sitting down Friday? I said, yeah. She says she's got ovarian cancer. And ain't good. Ain't good at all. And I says, you can't be serious. She moved in with us. And she died January 9th. And never again. I said to Pat, that smile, she always was worried about some money. And I said, when's enough enough? And I lost interest. I said, changed my life. And I just decided it was time to enjoy life. And the Lord blessed us. We got 2 great kids. We got grandkids. And I think that I said this about ego, Rick, and I think it's the truth. I could still have been doing if I would have changed some things, I could still be doing TV or whatever. But, there just comes a time and something strikes you. Something says, hey, man, wake up. And I think Chrissy dying woke me up. I was like, she was worried about everything. She never got to move back in her house. $500. And that made her smile. That's the best smile I ever saw in my life on my sister. And I says, if money, $500 could change, it changed me more than anything, because the smile, I'll never forget. But she never got to enjoy that. And I said to myself, $500 fixed her house floor, but yet she didn't get to enjoy it. What the hell's $50,000? Or I'm living in a $2.5 million, $3 million house on the lake. What the hell good is it? What good is it when you're not really totally enjoying life? So my wife and I says, let's just sell every damn thing we got. And because a lot of our friends were up in age. As far as, for some reason, Pat and I always were attracted to people that was 10, 15, 18 years older than us. Don't know why. I guess we were maybe more mature. I don't know. But we had some great friends when we were in our 30s and early 30s and 40s racing. And a lot of our friends were in their 40s and 50s. They weren't the same age. And they've been passing away, man. I'm going to the mountains tomorrow with a buddy of mine. He's 83, 84 TC, Tom Cleary. We worked for R.J. Reynolds, my best friend. Love the bastard to death. And do anything for him. And how much longer does he got? He's 84 years old, 20 years older than me. So I got limited time on this earth too, but I'm going to tell you what, buddy. The Lord's blessed me, and I'm going to take advantage of what he's done to give me. So yeah, I don't even sign autographs no more. I got boxes of them. That's bad. But I don't. I might someday sit down and say, you know what, I'll do this. But I miss that. I miss the Grand National scene. Because I miss reading the articles. Remember when the number one article you guys ever had was the one that Mike Davis wrote? They all thought I was writing it. Remember? Remember?
Yeah.
I can tell you this. I can remember those stories. And I can remember Jim Hunter. Jim Hunter saying, Spencer, I know you ain't that good at writing, but I'm going to tell you something. They're the funniest goddamn stories I've ever read. And he wanted us to make a short book out of them. Because I did not realize how important the articles were to people. And all they were was my life experiences that you could put in print. And, a lot of attention span. They just wanted to read quick and it was over. You don't read the Wall Street Journal because you don't have 30 minutes to read an article. You read online a thing, so you're not really getting the full information. So, it's a double-edged sword. You try to be But you know how it is. All you got to do in 100 words. Try to get it in 80. You know, right? So it was fun. It was awesome.
How would you like to be remembered by race fans?
By racing? Man, that's tough, Rick. I was a good guy. I never intentionally wrecked or hurt anybody. I did help them spin out sometimes by temper. Probably a bad way to say it, but I guess I did love the fans. I got in trouble at the R.J. Reynolds, the Brenner Hospital deal with Earnhardt. I got in trouble with Dale Jr. after the old man got killed at Daytona. But the officials, I respected them. I respected the other drivers. I knew the fans was where it was at. And I always tried to spend time with them. I still have some fans that I'm still fairly close to that have become fans of mine for just because they liked who I was, but that they liked me more personally. But for me, I don't think they can call me an ass. So what would they put on the tombstone? I don't know. No, like Kurt Busch said, an old has-been? I don't know. I don't really know, Rick, other than to say that the thing that I love about what happened in my life racing was the people that I met. The drivers I met, the fans, the crew members, there's just all the security guards, and I respected them. I can remember how many security guards, whether it was Kansas City, Chicago, Indianapolis, I stopped and talked to them, or whatever, unless I was in a hurry, and I said, listen, I'll be back, and I would go back. So nobody can ever say that I was a dumbass. I don't. I'm not good on words.